Welcome to Kills and Kisses, the essential podcast for women who want to tap into their divine femininity. Hey guys, welcome back to the third episode of Kills and Kisses. I'm your host Alina, and I'm joined with the lovely Stephanie.
Hi guys.
So we've been doing very, very, how should I say this? Some like hardcore stuff for the past 2 weeks. And I think we wanted to do an episode that's just a little bit more fun and a little bit more, we have more freedom to sort of just talk about what we want to talk about.
Yeah, like a lighter discussion.
A lighter discussion. There you go. Our past episodes were a little heavy, so we want to keep it nicely balanced. And I think this is sort of what we'll do in the future as well. We won't keep things heavy all the time, but we will have lighter episodes. So in theme with that, summer is very, very close, very soon. And so we thought it'd be such a great idea to share our hot girl summer tips. How do you feel about this, Stephanie?
I'm so excited. Like, you should see my face right now. I'm like,
so me excited. Too. I'm very excited too.
Okay, so I'm gonna start us off with some hot girl summer habits. I literally had so much fun, like writing down habits like I would use during hot girl summer. So the one thing I like to remember is that it takes an average of 66 days to form a habit. So applying lifestyle habits may be hard at first. I know for me, applying healthy daily habits are difficult for me to keep up with, but knowing that it only takes a little bit over 2 months to form a habit is what keeps me going. So
I love that.
It's like so easy to forget about that. Like, I'm not very good with keeping habits. So.
Me too. So what you're saying is consistency is the key?
Exactly. Consistency is the key to keeping habits. Just try to hit that 2-month mark and maybe it will come naturally at that point.
I like that.
So the first hot girl summer habit I have for you is to keep your space clean. Now, that doesn't sound very exciting, but by keeping your space clean, you'll feel more motivated, focused, comfortable, and clean. Whenever I take time out of the day to clean the space I'm always in, which is my room mainly, I always feel so much better. And what better feeling is there than going to bed in your nice, clean, cozy sheets? It's just the best feeling ever.
Yeah, and I feel like it makes you more productive too.
Definitely.
Just when you have a clean space. And I remember reading something where it's like, if you make your bed in the morning, it completely changes your life. And there was something like, I forget where I read it, but it was basically like a lot of successful people keep this habit of making their bed in the morning. And sort of the idea is that if you make your bed in the morning, you're sort of, starting your day productively. And so since you started productively, you sort of keep with the productiveness and you sort of do that throughout the day. So I really like what you said there, Stephanie.
Thank you. I'm a 19-year-old woman and I still love making my bed and like setting up all my stuffed animals on it. I have no shame. I have no shame in saying that.
That's so funny you said that. I have literally a teddy bear, like my old Build-A-Bear. Remember Build-A-Bears, guys? I lost all its clothes and it just sits in my room. And then I have like 2 pandas.
That's so adorable. I love them. I have like my childhood teddy bear. I have a few others. I have this giant sloth that my boyfriend got me.
I used to have so many plush animals as a kid, but I don't know where they all went. I think I threw them out when I was a kid.
No.
You know how we go through that weird phase? We're like, oh my gosh, like I'm growing up now.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna get rid of all my toys and be like a big girl. Which looking back, I'm like, oh my gosh, I really wanted to grow up so fast. But now I'm like looking back, I'm like, man, I wish I kept those things around.
Yeah. So the next habit is taking care of yourself. Taking care of yourself is such an umbrella topic. It could be staying active, nourishing your body with healthy food and water, or keeping up with good hygiene. Taking care of yourself is basically doing whatever you think is best for you. For me, I've started going on short walks, and even though that's not much, that's part of how I take care of myself. And during the summer, I also plan on finding a good skincare routine for myself and teaching myself how to cook balanced meals that will energize me for the summer.
I like what you said about, going on walks and sort of having that alone time with yourself. I was
Mhm.
reading a book, The Artist's Way. Well, I've read this book a million times and I keep going back because it's a really good book. It's called The Artist's Way by Julia Cameron. And it's basically just a book about how to be creative, but I think it's so much more than creativity. I think you can use this book in so many different situations and scenarios. And she said something about there's a practice of going on artist dates. So each week you spend at least a minimum of just 1 hour, feeding your inner child and just doing something playful with yourself. And I think that's such an amazing idea, and it doesn't have to be expensive. It could be simple, a simple thing as like going on a walk, like Stephanie said,
Mhm.
or even literally just going to the dollar store with $1 and I mean $5. Maybe I could say $3 before, but inflation is crazy right now. So $5, maybe $10. I don't know inflation, but it's that idea of just taking a little bit of that time and just buying some stupid stuff and just playing around. And I loved what you said there, Stephanie.
Mhm. So, another habit I suggest is to wear clothes that make you feel good this summer. Personally, I used to hate wearing bikinis because I always felt like I was being judged when wearing them. I just felt insecure about
Mm,
my body and what I was wearing, but I reminded myself that every body is a bikini body. And
mm,
people feel empowered in different ways. Some may feel empowered in a bikini and others may feel empowered in a one-piece bathing suit. But I think what is important, especially during the summertime, is to keep our judgments to ourselves and
yeah.
not make anyone feel bad for wearing something that makes them feel good.
hmm it's so interesting you said that. I think for me, I really got, and I struggle with like this idea because I feel like because of Zoom and, online school, I sort of came into the habit of literally being in my pajamas all day.
Oh,
And I
same.
literally had nowhere to go, but I could you not, when you get up and just dress up in the morning and just, you know, put in that time, even like change into like another pair of pajamas.
Yeah,
Literally,
yeah, that's true.
literally just doing that is going to make your day so much better. Otherwise, you just feel like you're sort of stuck,
Mhm.
you know?
Yeah, like on some mornings before class, even though it was over Zoom, I would decide to just like put on makeup and like wear maybe different sweatpants than last week. But
Yeah.
and I would feel so confident, like for some reason. Like I would maybe turn on my camera for the day. That was
Yeah.
very, very rare though. But some days I did. Like I would just feel confident enough to do that. So putting in that effort to wear clothes that make you feel good, I think is really important.
For sure.
So, this next habit is one of my favorite things to do, and that is to romanticize your life.
I love that.
Mhm. So, romanticizing your life means to learn what you love and what you desire. The way,
Ooh.
the way I think of it is like pretending you're in a movie and you're the main character. So,
Oof.
so the way I romanticize my life is by going on dates with myself. I love walking down to the town park and grabbing a little pastry for myself. And I
Mm,
love hanging out in coffee shops on my own. And I think that by romanticizing your life, you can learn new things and learn how to be independent and content with being by yourself. I also think that romanticizing your life is just so much fun and makes you feel so happy. Summertime, you're hanging out with friends a lot, but maybe you should take, a day to yourself and just focus on doing things that you enjoy doing on your own. I think that's really important.
I love that. romanticizing your life is something that I recently got into. And now that I'm into it, I feel like I can't look at life another way.
Hmm.
It's like this weird rabbit hole, but it's a good thing. And
Yeah.
I think a lot of people get the wrong idea when we say romanticize your life. They think you need another person, you need a significant other, when it's
Mm.
not. Romanticizing your life is romanticizing your independence. It's romanticizing taking care of yourself. And literally, I love the idea of pretending like I'm in a movie,
Yeah, it's so
like one
fun.
of those like Marilyn Monroe, Audrey Hepburn movies where like
Yes.
I'm like a Hollywood star, the world revolves around me. And one tip that has really helped me with that is creating a playlist specifically just for romanticizing your life. And in that playlist, I have like Frank Sinatra, Marilyn Monroe. So I think that that's an amazing idea.
I love that. You'll have to share that playlist with me. I'll definitely
Oh,
listen to
for
it.
sure. I will send it to you right after this podcast.
Ever since I've like romanticized my life, I have noticed that like things are being brought to me. That sounds weird. It's kind of like manifesting
Wow.
things. But the other day I was in a Walmart and I saw this booth set up and they had this giveaway going on where you would write your name and your number and your email on this little ticket and you would put it in a Dropbox and you might win a photo shoot. So I was like, you know what? I never win anything, but I'm going to do it anyway. And guess what? I got a text this morning saying that
Stop.
I won that photo shoot and I was like, what the heck? How?
You know,
Cuz I literally never win anything.
that is I'm so happy for you, Stephanie. And
Thank
it's so
you.
interesting, this idea of like, when you start taking care of your mind, and your mindset can literally change everything. And I know everyone has heard this like way too often, where your mindset changes everything, but honestly, it really
It
does.
does.
When you have that romanticizing your life mentality, you don't realize it, but you're walking and you're making that eye contact with people, and you're walking and your posture is right. You're walking with confidence. It's sort of like that Marilyn Monroe effect. And it people notice, it
Mhm.
because they can notice, like, hey, look at that girl. She's like walking like she's a star, but like not in a snobby
Yeah.
way, right? And it just attracts sort of like that good energy.
Yes. Just
And I love that.
me too. Like it's like manifesting. It's great.
Hmm.
So another habit is something I'm really trying to make a habit of, and that is journaling. I think by I think by journaling, you're able to clear your head and get your emotions and thoughts out on paper. You can journal about anything, but when I journal, I usually write my to-do list for the day or for the week. I write down my podcast episode ideas and goals for the week or for my future. So that's something that I really enjoy doing. And I do that a lot when I go on dates with myself.
I love that. I feel like journaling is often overlooked. I think
Hmm.
people see it as like this, like childish Dear Diary type of situation. And
Yeah.
it's not. I think journaling is something that a lot of successful people do. And it's like, you need to get it out sometimes. And sometimes the best way to get it out is by writing it down on a piece of paper. And I mentioned the book Artist Way by Julia Cameron. And she also has this practice called morning pages, where basically you just write 3 pages of whatever is on your mind, and you do not lift your pen until those 3 pages are written. And I think I love this idea of just getting it out, because oftentimes we have a lot of things that we just keep in our subconscious that for whatever reason we don't want to confront those thoughts, those ideas. But when you do confront, then you start realizing why you are the way you are, and that's when you can make those improvements in your life.
Yeah, I've heard of that. I should start doing that because that sounds like it is really beneficial for you and your mindset.
What I used to do is I don't do morning pages that much anymore, but whenever I need inspiration, because this is a practice that I was consistently like doing, for years. So I can look back and I can look at like years ago and just look at my morning pages then. And whenever I need some sort of inspiration, I go back to those notebooks and I just flip around and I'm like, wow, like it's just very interesting what sort of thoughts we have in our subconscious mind.
Mm-hmm. So, my last habit, and I think this is the most important one, is to start your day earlier. So, by waking up earlier, you can get more things done in your day and have more time for yourself to do the things that you enjoy doing. Personally, this is so embarrassing to admit, but I've been waking up at like 11 or 12 every day, which is totally not hot girl
Me
summer material.
too. Me too. Honestly, I feel sort of guilty about it too. But I think, guys, if you're looking for a sign to wake up early, this is
This
your
is it.
sign.
This
This
is
is
your
your
sign,
sign.
guys. Yeah, so that's embarrassing to admit, but I've made a promise to myself that I will start waking up earlier during the summer because I just feel like I rush throughout the day to get everything I need done.
Mhm.
And I think that by waking up earlier, I can also achieve a healthy morning routine, which I really need in my life.
Oh, yeah.
So that is all the habits I have for you guys. Hopefully, you can take these habits and apply them to your hot girl summer because I know I will.
And I will too. So thank you so much for that,
Yay!
Stephanie.
You're
I
welcome.
I loved the journaling and I love the artist date idea and especially the romanticizing your life. So on
Yes.
to my sort of portion. My hot girl summer tip is basically just all about hair. So, one of my favorite things that I feel like can completely just upgrade your look in your hot girl summer are just a couple tips. So, I feel like when you look good and you feel good, like, when you put in that effort and take care of your outer self, it reflects also in your mind and it sort of
Mhm.
helps with that. So one of my favorite things, when it comes to upgrading your look is hair. I feel like hair can completely just boost your confidence, and it certainly has boosted my confidence. So, for those who are not aware, I have curly hair and I've struggled with taking care of my hair for years. But now it's what brings me the most confidence. So what I want to talk about is basically some hair care secrets that I feel like a lot of people, companies, hair salons do not want you to know. So
Ooh.
I've spent quite some time actually learning about hair care. I've worked at a hair salon and I've worked as a sales associate at a distributor for products to licensed salon professionals. I'm not going to say what it is just because I don't want to get in trouble
I know what it
um,
is.
with these little things that I'm about to share. So I feel like oftentimes we think that salon quality and the more high end and expensive a hair product is, that it is better for your hair. And that, my friends, is far from the truth. Because when I used to work at the distributor, despite getting the free products and the discounts and the access to what a lot of salon owners and a lot of people in general, especially in the industry, would say is the best of the best of hair products. So I rarely bought anything from there or used any of the products that I received. And instead, I opted for drugstore hair products. And I'm surprised that there's still licensed professionals still saying that you shouldn't buy from the drugstore when it comes to hair care products. But honestly, what we need to understand that hair is a business and that they want to profit off of you. And I feel like, I've worked in a hair salon, so I've seen the way they sort of talk you into buying things that you honestly do not need. Now, we can look at this like the way we look at skincare. So, we can take a look at what skincare, like a couple years ago, we used to see people gravitate towards the expensive, high-end skincare products until people started to realize that number one, they are selling an experience, not necessarily something that's good for your hair. And instead, they're just selling you products that are filled with bad ingredients that may work for a short period of time, but in the long term will ruin your skin if we're talking about skincare.
Mhm.
And which is then a lot of brands will be like, okay, you have this problem now because of using our product. Here's another product that we have to fix the issue that our other product caused, which is honestly insane. And now people are gravitating towards, for example, the Inky List and the Ordinary, right? These are, very popular skincare brands at the moment. And, the reason why people are gravitating towards these products is because they're selling a legitimate solution to your skin concerns and have good ingredients and are affordable rather than just selling you an experience. And so the same goes for hair care. And majority and almost all the products at this distributor of salon products that I worked at were filled with sulfates and silicones, which, by the way, should be avoided. So sulfates, what are they? They are these harsh detergents in your shampoos and anything that's like cleansing and cleaning for your hair. Majority of the time they're in shampoos, but they can also be found in other hair care products. And the reason why you should avoid them is because they strip your hair from moisture. And you're not supposed to, by the way, ladies, your hair is not supposed to feel squeaky clean. And if it does that, that's because it has a lot of sulfates in it. And that is not okay at all because that is too harsh and that will dry your hair out. Silicones, on the other hand, they're usually found in your anti-frizz, your smoothing hair products, usually like conditioners, creams, and oils is where you can find them majority of the time. Now, they actually coat the hair strand. And for a little bit, you'll be like, oh my gosh, my hair looks shiny and glossy. But many silicones, by the way, are not water soluble. So what does that mean? That means it cannot get washed out with water. Some can, but a lot of them cannot. And they can only be washed out by using sulfate shampoos. So you see how it's this harsh cycle where, you're not really going anywhere with your hair care. And anything usually with that ends with, like when you're looking in the ingredients list of a hair product, anything that usually ends with cone is usually a silicone that's not water soluble. So try to avoid that. Now, the thing with using silicone, so what's so bad about it? So it builds up on your hair and it prevents moisture from getting in because it coats the hair. And so this can make your hair feel dry. It can make it feel flat, because you have so many just buildup. And this can also cause scalp issues. And same goes with sulfates because it's going to, make your scalp just so dry, which is why those things should be avoided. So two of my favorite hair care lines that do not use sulfates and silicones in their hair products that are also affordable, by the way, and pretty much accessible. You can get them at your local drugstore, at Walmart, and they are Maui Moisture and Shea Moisture. So stay on a lookout for those. I 100% recommend those, and I've been using them for years. Another hack that I've been using for years is sleeping on a satin or silk pillowcase. So many people even opt, instead of a pillowcase, maybe a silk or satin scarf or a bonnet to wrap around their hair. It's the idea that this material is just so gentle on your hair. And a lot of people even like it because it's so gentle on the skin. And it doesn't absorb your skincare like other pillowcases, for example, cotton pillowcases. And so it doesn't cause that much friction. Therefore, you have less breakage. And it keeps the style of your hair. Whether you have curled your hair with a curling wand or you just have curly hair, natural curly hair, it prolongs your style. I can say that I have better hair and it extends my wash days with this hack. And I think we also don't give enough credit to like a good haircut. So haircuts can literally take you from a solid 7 to a 10. And
For sure.
I literally used to be under the impression for a long time that having long, healthy hair is the look for me. Like this is the look for me. I'm gonna look amazing if I just have long, healthy hair. And a lot of people think that. But mind you, I had healthy, long, curly hair in my past. It was literally past my butt. It was so long. I had to literally like carry it when I would use the washroom. So it was so extremely long, although it was healthy, but it was also curly. And the thing is, because it had no shape whatsoever in my hair, it was flat, right? It was just like this one length. There was no shape in my hair, no layers, no anything. And I am pretty skinny and I'm pretty petite and built. And so this just gave me such a strange look, right? And back
Yeah.
then I used to think that that was a thing. I think a lot of people think just having long, straight hair is the way, I mean, not straight, but any hair that's very long
Mm-hmm.
is to look for them, but it honestly just depends on your features. And I know for most people, it's not it's not the best look. So after that, I started eventually getting what is called a Devo or a Rezo cut. Rezo cut, hopefully I said that right. It's basically like a curly haircut, which they cut your hair dry.
Oh, that's cool.
It's very interesting. And so I started getting haircuts like those. And so I ended up getting layers in my hair, face framing layers, and even cut it to my shoulders. And interesting enough, that is what brought out my features even more. You know, my whole jaw, you know, that sort of my whole facial structure, I felt like was sort of hidden with how long my hair was. And now I can tell you, I don't think I'm ever going to go back to long hair again.
Mm.
So those were my tips, Stephanie.
I love that. And I love how you offered advice for like actual accessible products, because one thing I've noticed, like I'll watch skincare routines on YouTube to like look for things that I want, and then they use like $50 products. I'm like, no way that's happening.
Mm-hmm. I think
So
it's crazy. Majority of the time, there's like everything is, you know, everyone's just trying to sell you something, you
yeah.
know, and especially if you look at social media, everything is just marketing and everyone's just trying to sell you something. And I think we need to keep that idea that, you know, hey, is this person actually sponsored? I sometimes
Yeah.
forget that. I'm looking at some like, man, this looks cool. And then I look at the what do you call it, description. And then
Yeah.
they tag the
The
a lot of people don't
sponsor.
even say things like this is sponsored anymore. So you
Yeah.
have to like sort of be on the lookout for that. But I'm flattered, Stephanie.
Is it time for our Reddit segment?
I think it is.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so this question is posted on Reddit by Take Him Up, and they said, all day it seems like I'm thinking, what did he or she think about what I said or did? Or I wonder how doing that made me look to those people. Or some variation of caring about how my actions and appearance make me look, even to complete strangers. It's awful. I say I don't care and I don't want to care. Constantly thinking about it makes me afraid to do or say things and take a toll on my self esteem. Does anyone have any tips or things I can actively do to stop caring? Do you want to answer that first or shall I?
I think you can start.
Okay, so after reading this question, it actually made me quite sad because just
Oh,
remembering how I was in high school, I cared so much about what others thought of me. And honestly, I somewhat still do. You know, I want others to like me. I don't want to be judged, but I've come to realize that caring about what others think of me is keeping me back from all these opportunities I've been missing. Like
yeah.
I wish I spoke more in my classes in high school. I wish I wore what I wanted to wear without being scared that I'll be judged before I even walked out my door. And I wish that I didn't have to wish my high school experience was different because I was scared of being judged. Even though this is something I still struggle with, I feel like I've come a long way since high school. And if you knew me in high school, no, you don't. You don't know me anymore.
You don't know her anymore,
No, you do
guys.
not.
Okay.
So I watched a video by, I think her name is Nicole Raffi. I'm not sure if that's how you say her last name, but she spoke about how she stopped caring about other people's opinions. And one thing she said that really stuck to me was your existence is not a burden and nobody should feel like that. So,
Oh,
what I took from that is that if you're surrounding yourself with people, this can go into our last episode too, honestly. If you listen to our last episode about being a people person, this applies to that. So if you're surrounding yourself with people who see your existence as a burden, then you are definitely not around the right people.
Right.
You don't live to please others, and nobody can tell you your worth. Honestly, people are going to judge you no matter what you do. So my only advice for you is to take control of your own life and make sure that you just like yourself. You may feel like you're being judged, but most of the time that's just you overthinking that.
Mm.
And, sometimes you don't like to be told that you're overthinking, but sometimes it's true.
Yeah, overthinking. I like that. I think I can look into my own past as well. And I can think of, even just like middle school, not even just high school, middle school. I literally, you know, there's so many opportunities that I look back and I'm like, I missed them because I was so insecure.
Exactly. And it's a
But
sucky feeling.
it's a sucky feeling because at this mindset that I am right now, I can tell you those people that I was so concerned about that would think, wrong of me, that I was, I wouldn't even speak because I was so afraid of what, certain people would think of me.
Yeah, me
But
too.
what's crazy? Those certain people are not even in my life.
And that's how
So,
it should be. Honestly, if those people are in your life to begin with and they're judging you for like the littlest things ever, I've had those people in my life and they're not in
mm,
my life anymore. And I am so happy that they're not in my life anymore.
yeah, and I think sometimes it's my overthinking that makes me feel like, hey, what if I say the wrong thing? What if I act out in a way that just makes me look stupid? And that was what prevented me from doing so many things. And yes,
Mhm.
those people are not in my life anymore, but I look back and I'm like, who lost in that situation?
Yeah,
Right? And
exactly.
it's not them. They're busy with their own lives. Who lost was me. And you can either sit down and grieve, by the way, and just be like, oh man, like I had so many lost opportunities. Or you could be like, okay, I've learned that I had lost opportunities, but what can I do now? What can I do to ensure that I never lose an opportunity like that again? And you know how we previously touched on how, when your mindset is different, everything that you look at looks different. And
Mhm.
I was listening to SZA, like I always do,
Yes.
and I was listening to Good Days. And I've listened to this song multiple times, but I don't know why this, never stuck out to me the way it stuck out to me when I was listening to it for like the 40th time. And basically it was like we're all looking for a fountain of youth, but it's in the present.
Aw.
And I usually would just listen over to that and never actually listen or, and realize what the lyrics actually stood for. And I
Mhm.
think, this quote from the song is a really big, it has a strong connection to what this individual asked about caring about what people think. Because, oftentimes we can be like, man, I wish, hopefully when I get older, things will get better, and we're so focused on the future and we're stressing about that oftentimes we forget that this is our prime time. When I'm
Mhm.
50 and I'm 60, I'm not going to be thinking about, hey, when I get older, things will get better. No, like I'm old now, you know? Like there is like, what do you do when you're 80 and 90 years old? You're not going to be looking for the future realistically. You're going to be like, man, my past was so special and I had so many missed opportunities. Oftentimes we look back at, just like we just said, our high school experiences, our middle school experiences, and we think of lost opportunities. When we were kids, we wanted to grow up, and now we look back and we're like, man, I wish we were kids. And that's the same situation right now. We're thinking, man, we're lost. We don't know what we're doing with our lives, and we're so scared what other people are going to think. But I could tell you, this is our prime time. When we're 60, however old, we're gonna be looking back and be like, man, that was my prime time, even
Yeah.
though we don't realize it now, just the way we didn't realize how precious our childhood was when we were kids, we're going to be looking at it exactly the same way. And that's what helps me going.
That I love how you worded that because I was gonna say something like along the same lines of how Like sometimes, you have those shower thoughts. And
Yes, I have
I
way too many.
yeah, I always think about like, in my next life, like if I ever live a next life, if that's a thing, I don't really know.
Yeah.
I will be super confident. And I'm like, wait, why can't I just be like that now?
Yeah.
Like I don't want to wait to have that mindset where I'm confident enough to do what I want and speak what I want. But like, why can't I just be like that now, Don't
Yeah,
wait.
and there's a quote. It's not my quote. In fact, this quote was from another podcast that I was just looking at like the little snippets that I see on Instagram, and it was like we have two lives, and the second one starts when you realize you only have one. So, and I
Aw.
think that just fits perfectly with what you just said.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah. So thank you guys so much tuning in on our third episode of Kills and Kisses. As always, we are always looking for feedback and we appreciate all the love and all the support. And thank you and have a great day.
Thank you guys. Bye.
Bye.